Hello, Hobby Now audience. It's ZiggyNo back. Today is November 1st. It's All Saints Day. You guys know today's All Saints Day. That's why we had Halloween yesterday, because we're celebrating All Saints Day, and then we have the All Halloween. Yeah, it's not important, but happy Halloween to those people who celebrate Halloween. I'm back with another episode. We're gonna call this Frozen Fractor episode -2 because I still have not got to the podcast piece. I haven't even looked it up. I need to do that, but this means I have at least 2 more weeks, next week and the week after that, to get a podcast ready to roll for Hobby Now, which looks like to me Wednesday nights. Dropping a Wednesday night 30-minute podcast is my goal. We're going to go over the hobbies, good, bad, ugly, and also what is ZiggyNo doing in the hobby. That's kind of the goal of the show. We will be doing hobby past, looking back at the past, what happened in the hobby. That's another show will be coming probably in a few weeks once we get things going. I am joined by a special guest tonight. You probably will not hear much from him. It is my youngest son, my little LCS, Luke. He's on camera here saying hi. Hi, Luke. Say hi to everybody. Luke wanted to help me tonight, so he's going to keep me on this 30-minute, right? 30 minutes, Luke. That's all I promised. And then we're going to hang out and do some stuff and do bottle time. Woo! A lot and then not a lot going on in the hobby. The hobby's always got stuff going on. Not like there was a lot of breaking news, no big stories, no lawsuits, nothing major, no break-ins this week, no major scams. But let's talk about what was going on. Probably the biggest theme I heard this week has to be market down. And I have to say, the tone is often set by Jeff Wilson. Love him or hate him. He puts out a video and then 50 people react, and everybody's got to give your opinion on whether the market's going up or down. One thing I screamed when I saw his video is, I swear for the last year, I've heard everybody tell me how this is the time of the market that's normally slow. Don't worry, January, February, it's normally slow. March, April, it's normally slow. June, July, it's normally slow right before the national. Right after the national, it's normally slow right after the national. It'll be busy. All year long, we've been making excuses. I think one of the biggest impacts in the hobby is the product releases with the rookie class and the timing of that. In fact, I'll talk a little bit about that in this podcast. What I refer to as the product cycle of the hobby. When a product is released, you have the pre-order, you have the release, you have a little bit of a lag, you have the grading results coming in, and you have a tapering off of that product. These product cycles are important, right? So, for example, before COVID, two of the major product cycles, Prism football and Prism basketball, came out in the fall. I remember because it was big retail time. We'd go out for Christmas, Thanksgiving with my sons trying to find Prism football, Prism basketball. That has not been the case since COVID. And that, I think, has a very big impact on the lack of seasonality. That you can't say this is the good time or the bad time. We don't know. Without those products and with all the other micro and macro economic factors taking place, that is why we're seeing a dip in the hobby. And compounded that with the uncertainty. Like, even if Prism came out today, Prism NFL came out today, we know it's lacking some quarterbacks. And we have rumors that there could be a Chrome football, Chrome NFL. So until we have certainty in the marketplace, we're going to continue to see problems with that product life cycle not being able to repeat, not being able to function properly. I believe that the engine of the hobby, and I think it's funny to me that people don't say this, because I know a lot of people in their hobby are collectors, they do vintage, and products and manufacturers don't impact them. I understand that, but it does impact everybody in the sense that product and product release are the lifeblood. It's the engine of the hobby. When we don't see products selling, I'm not talking about all the retail you see on the retail shelves, that's junk. But when you see that people aren't able to that Prism football and Prism NBA breaks aren't filling, I'm talking hobby, those products aren't selling and those comps aren't returning and those cards aren't getting good grades and selling for crazy prices, that's when I'd be concerned about the down in the market. And the market has definitely changed. We're not paying as much as we used to for silver Prisms. Although I will tell you, before COVID, a Prism silver NBA top 10 rookie would get you about $100 raw. I don't know if that's the case today, but it's a good indicator of where the market is. I haven't been as involved in the Prism silver NBA market, but the NFL market, the NFL product market is still very strong. Mosaic product, which I'm not a fan of, is doing very well. Topps Chrome, Topps Update, Topps products are still doing very well. Bowman products still doing very well. If you look at those product cycles, they're doing well. So when everybody's talking about the down market, I think they're just misinformed. I also think a lot of those individuals are card people. They only buy cards. They buy finished cards. They try to sell a card that's already finished. That's not my market space. In fact, one of my favorite content creators is SCV because he's all about raw to grade. And I think a lot of people are about raw to grade, right? They grade cards raw. There's a lot of upside on that. That in fact, Another good example, grading. Grading is still strong. I even heard Neo talk about today. He's been expecting grading would drop off this year. It has not. 1 million plus cards are graded every month. Somebody's buying them, someone's paying for them. I know I've got a big grading session coming back next week, so I'm excited about it. And I know that when I sell those cards, I will make money off those cards. I don't even know what those cards are. I don't know the grades of them, but I'm very confident of the return that I will see on those cards. So good, I would say the hobby negativity is actually good. It really is weeding out, showing you who really understands the hobby and who doesn't, right? I also think right now, it's funny, during 2020, everybody had a play. I listened to Cage Lawyer today, and I remember him and Andrew always said, plays of the day. Here's my play, man. Here's my play. You haven't heard those since the downturn. And I was thinking to myself, now, right now is the best time that people should be giving plays, because I've got lots of plays I can give you. The reason I don't is because that's not my style, but also I don't want to share some of the things that I'm doing, some of the advantages I'm taking to market, some of the opportunities I see. One of the simple plays that I've said before is I bought Monopoly Prism basketball, graded a bunch of rookies, and I plan to sell those off. Well, in the basketball season, I'm still very confident about that strategy. Feel the same confidence about baseball rookies and about NFL rookies, right? Buy them, acquire them, grade them, sell them. In fact, the confession I made this week, which someone totally misunderstood, I have not bought, and I do not buy singles. I don't buy raw or graded singles. I acquire cards and breaks and do boxes that I rip, and then I sell those through grading them. What else is good in the hobby? Well, I think we get some plays in the hobby. In fact, I think SVC, big fan of his channel. And there's a couple other channels like that that are really just kind of brass tacks, showing how like the sausage is made in the hobby, if you want to say it that way. There's Chases. I love watching, what's it, Step in the Box and ERB Sports, and their opening product. They primarily do baseball. I haven't found somebody in football and basketball as knowledgeable as them. I'm not talking breakers. I'm talking about individuals who buy product, they rip it, they have a return, they have a grading, they have a plan for it. And right now, the chases right now in baseball have been great. I mean, you've been chasing the Halloween product, Halloween inserts in Update. Update Chrome's going to have those rookie patch autos. It seems like every product has a nice little cute little chase in it. I was watching the Bob Ross product open. Not a fan of the Bob Ross product, but again, I thought to myself how what Topps has done a very good job of is they've made a bunch of sets that in them that the standalone sets are fun as a collector to collect and have some value, some limited print run in some ways. The flagship products clearly are not those. I mean, you saw the pallets at Costco of Topps Series 1 and Series 2. I think it's pretty fair and safe to say that we are going to print the hell out of that product, and that's fine. I'm just going to call it as it is. I don't hate the player. I hate the game, or I don't hate the cards. I hate the manufacturers for overprinting, but it is what it is, right? But I'd say right now the hobby is good. In fact, another good video I want to bring attention to, good in the hobby, and I don't want this to come across the wrong what way. I was listening to those back pages, well-respected collector in the hobby community, and he did a shout out this week to somebody who was lost in the hobby, a passing or a friend. And I'll be honest, I've heard the person's name, but I don't know the individual directly. I'm not going to do a shout out in remembrance. I will simply say this: my thoughts are with the family, individuals lost, and it makes me think about, that's kind of what happens to a lot of people in the hobby. They pass on, and someone gets their collection, or their collection goes on, and it just makes you think, be aware. But I really like that those back pages took the moment, made a shout out, talked about it, and really kind of showed what the hobby is. It makes me think about the hobby as guys who help each other out, help collect, finish a set, share a card, because I know it's your favorite card, so I send it to you. It's not about profiting, right? It wasn't about I can make money. It's an investment. Like, I don't think you'd ever give your buddy, like if your buddy was, I don't know, he's a Disney collector, you don't go to your buddy's house and bring him a share of Disney stock and say, hey man, I'm having my broker send over a share of Disney stock to you. I know you're a Disney collector. Doesn't happen. You know what I mean? But if I'm a Disney and I pick up something he might like from Disney, I might give it to him. And that's why I think there's a big difference between the investor and the collector in sports cards, if that makes sense. Anyway, let me just quickly point out my comment. I think we're about keep my time here, so I try to keep in my time. I want to talk about the product cycle, and this is something I'm going to put into maybe a graph, a whiteboard on earlier, but follow me, and I love your feedback on this. I believe you have your pre-sale, and this product life cycle is really only about key iconic products in the hobby. Flux is not an example of this product life cycle. Encased, not an example of this product life cycle. Topps Chrome is. Bowman Chrome is. NBA Prism, right? These are products you have pre-orders, you have a major release, and then typically it's not a release. It's normally several weeks, so that product will be opening, releasing breaks. People are talking about it. And then you have, I'd say there's in the first 30 to 90 days, you'll have the PSA comps come in. Normally in the first 30 days, Those are the guys who graded fast. They got them off immediately. And then the first 90 days after a product release, you can look at the PSA sales, the comps, and kind of see how that product is doing in the market. How are those rookies performing? Are they doing well? Are they up? My experience is most of the highest comps are in those first 90 days of those hot rookies from those key products. And over time, a majority, vast majority, 85, 90% of all those cards in that product will decline in value. Vets are the first one to decline, right? The rookies will hold value and spike according to performance or news activity, right? But even their spikes are in a downward spike, in my opinion, for the majority of cards. It's a continuous product cycle, something to keep an eye on, something I think, again, do a lot of whiteboard video on. But I think that product cycle, tying that with the right rookie, the right time of the market, right? So think about 2019, you had products were in line, you had the fall. In fact, you had in, was it September, August? We went Zion cards so badly that they came out with college products for the first time they never made before, just to give them to the collectors who wanted them in 2019. So that was where you had the product, the rookie class, the timing all lined up. That's pre-COVID. That's just natural organic hobby growth at that time. But that product life cycle, release cycle is so key to that. So key to that. Let's talk about some of the bad in the hobby. What's been bad this last week? Luke, what do you think's been bad, son? Any comments? What's been bad? He's rubbing his little eyes. He's a little tired. I have to give him a little bottle time here. I think some of the bad have been, and again, I don't want to take this the wrong way. I saw a video from the sports card therapist, and he talked about double down. Now it's time to double down, double down. And I thought to myself, it's interesting. That can be bad if it's taken the wrong way. Like, I love people who say, collect what you love. Don't collect it as an investment. Well, if that's the case, then don't double down as an investment either. Like, if you like collecting something, keep collecting it. Don't spend more money collecting it just because you think the market needs. Like, I know he collects Eli, and talks about he bought a bunch of Eli cards, so he's doubling down his Eli collection. That's great. But I think you should do that just naturally over time. Don't put it all on the table right now, because I still think we got a ways to go. I thought that was kind of bad advice. And I think that's similar to what Jeff's in that message was earlier about he's buying right now. He's buying up at the market's down, right? There's a dip in the market. He's going after certain opportunities. He sees that he can, take advantage of that opportunity. Bad to me. I think that we have to be careful of that. Watch that information. Other bad in the hobby, right? So that sentiment of right now, double down, buy a lot. You do you, but be cautious, right? Be cautious. Be smart. Be aware. Look at things bigger. In fact, like I said, I don't buy singles. I don't buy raw cards. Buy something. I don't want to tell you what to do. Just be intelligent about your decisions. But other bad things. I saw a video Junkbox Hero did on PSA, Golden, and the vaulting service. And real quickly, what my takeaway there was some guy got a deal on Golden because somebody accidentally mispriced something. So the guy got a card for like $9, which the card should have been valued at more. Golden investigated and said that the user's account was hacked. So he refunded the transaction, took the sale back from the guy who bought it, and gave the guy who bought it like a credit. And the guy who bought it's upset because he's talking about, the reason you use a vault is because you're trying to get something immediately. And all I thought to myself was, yeah, it's the hobby. I mean, I just say, you'll listen to the video from Junkbox Hero. Nat Turner is involved in it, make some comments. But I thought, it just made me think to myself, yes, Luke, I'll get you some bottle time. It just made me think to myself that we need to realize it's the hobby. These aren't stocks. These aren't gold or medallions. These are cards. So the fact that they refunded the guy who accidentally said his account was hacked, which I would say I'd call cap on that. I want to see how your account was hacked. And if it was, anyway, great story. Bad for the hobby though. And I'll even say bad for the hobby because I think a lot of people are vaulting. A lot of people are using these services, PWCC, Golden, and even eBay. And I'll be transparent with you. I have a card in the eBay vault. I'm a fan of the eBay vault because I use eBay to buy and sell. And cards I put in the vault, I'm not really concerned about like their vaulted because I need them for my collection or it's just for my kids. They're there because they're on the path to sale. That's why I'm in the eBay vault. But that video had me concerned, and it also shows. I don't know. I made a comment on there. If it was Cajun Cardboard, who was seen, great content creator. Cajun Cardboard had an issue with a card that he bought and then was taken out of his account. I bet you he'd be treated differently. And I also bet that if he accidentally sold the card, he's the guy who could call Nat and say, hey, I accidentally sold the card for $9. Please reverse it. And he would get it done. And that to me is concerning. And I'll go back to there's no third-party auditing. There's no authoritative resource coming in. There's no law enforcement that's going to protect, make sure that you're treated equally or fairly in these organizations, these vaulting companies. They can do whatever the hell they want to. They're just small businesses, right? They can do whatever the hell they want. On the note of PSA, I will go ahead and and pound on PSA for the bad of the week, I saw the video that Neo did about the PSA 6 to PSA 10. Not shocked. I've seen this a dozen times. I've seen it so many times, it's ridiculous. Let me just keep saying this. Number one. Do you see Neo cracking the card out and sending it back to PSA going, hey guys, I really think it's a 9. You weren't accurate in the grading? No. You know why? Because people don't want accurate grades. They want favorable grades. And you know what else? The graders are just wizards using magic. And depending on which school of wizardry you get, you might get completely different magic, Harry. I'm telling you. So I wasn't shocked by that. I thought it was a great video. It was interesting. If I had the time, money, and energy, I think I'd just go back and recrack a bunch of older cards and see how you can get them upgraded. I also think another thing that came to my attention was what's it, the baseball card guy who's partnered with Jeff down there. Oh, who's that guy? Get the guy down in, I'm talking about baseballcard.com. I saw he has now changed his grading pricing, right? You just grade and you pay $2 for their wiping / evaluation service, which is pretty standard. I mean, I pay $2 for cards to be evaluated before I submit them to one of my subbers, so I'm familiar with it. I have different opinions about the person. I like the person I use. I don't trust everybody, but what was interesting to me was he made a comment on there how they remove thumbprints from cards all the time and how PSA doesn't like thumbprints and they'll grade you harsh on those. I remember Nat specifically saying that their graders would wipe thumbprints off if a PSA grader saw a thumbprint on a card. This is an area where I don't know who to believe or what to trust. I've seen PSA graded cards with thumbprints on them, and they didn't have 10s on them, right? So you see like a 9 or 8, there's a big thumbprint on it. So you then assume to yourself, well, the thumbprint's the reason I didn't get a 10. At the same time, you're told that Nat says, hey, that's not why they're going to penalize you, and they'd wipe it off. So I don't know. I wish there was more certainty on that. I wish there was a real answer. And I wish that if I got a card graded and it had a thumbprint on it and it was a 9, I should know that that thumbprint should not mean that that's why I got the 9. But I don't think that's the case, if that makes sense. I don't think we're getting that type of information, that transparency from grading, which frustrates me. I consider that bad for the hobby. Let's see, what else did I want to hit on in the bad? I think that's it. The double down, I think that's dangerous advice. I also comment that I'm still working on some blocking issues. The blocking I'll put in my ugly section. What's ugly in the hobby? Well, what's ugly in the hobby, in my opinion, has got to be, well, first of all, got some news this week about Card Ladder. If you've been following my battle with Card Ladder, I posted some videos on here. My biggest concern about Card Ladder has always been critical of the fact that those two guys were selling what I believe are picks. At the same time, they're operating and managing PSA. I'm sorry, managing Card Ladder. And I finally got a written statement from them where Chris actually says Josh was selling information from 21 to 22, but not picks, which, again, we can debate the difference of that. But again, I think that he should have disclosed. This is what I refer to the ugly part of hobby. I think that he should have disclosed the fact that he was selling data at the same time he's operating and the developer of Card Ladder. Now, I would argue that how do you know he didn't, data switches over, the data from Card Ladder wasn't used to advertise to how to collect classes, that he wasn't selling picks to them. I don't know. I think there's enough information. I think what's ugly is that they basically, I won't say confessed, but admitted to the fact that what I've been saying for the last 3 years is right. Shady activity. There's a couple other things that came out in the document, and I will share the document probably in a later video. In fact, it's funny when I got it, I'm calling it ugly because I'm not happy with the whole situation. I'm not like, oh, I've been vindicated. I'm right. Card Ladder's wrong. Here's proof of that. I feel like Card Ladder really got away with misleading the hobby. And people now, when they see the information, they're like, oh, wow, that sucks. Or they don't care. They don't care. There's no punishment, which is, again, why people love the hobby. There is no punishment in the hobby. If you do something bad, over time, it will be forgotten. It will go away, or people who around you will forget. And that's ugly. That's really ugly. So just let me kind of summarize this. Sports Card Radio, which I applaud them, sent an email that I forwarded them about my concerns about Card Ladder to the Card Ladder team. Chris came back with a very well done documented email, which I thought was interesting because it made me realize that Chris is clearly paying attention to things I've said, because he clipped videos that I had and its rebuttals, which again, I could go point to point rebuttal everything he has in that video. But again, what I loved about the video, he said in there, he admitted that Chris himself was selling market information, not market cap reports, but market information in 2019, 2020, and that Josh was selling information from 2020 to 2021. Ugly, 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 ugly. Now, the reason I say it's ugly is it reminds me of all the people who blocked me over the years because I've simply brought that to their attention. Because I've simply said, you know what the card ladder guys have done, and I get blocked for that. I'm going to leave it at that. I could go on and drone about this. I'm not going to get too angry. I will say on the topic of blocking, right, who's totally separate of card ladder, my boy Ty Wilson was doing a bunch of lives on cardboard, chasing cardboard this week. And I was in one of the lives and I was chatting and I realized, and I always can realize this when nobody's responding back to me, that I was blocked in the chasing cardboard chat. So here I am, guys. We're in the ugly part of the hobby breakdown for the week. I cannot stand being blocked. I know Ty Wilson. I worked with Ty Wilson, not worked with, but engaged with him at Breaker Culture, gosh, almost 10 years ago. I've known him longer than my baseball card collector does. Okay. Consider Ty a good friend. I stood up for Ty when he had the whole autograph thing. I said, I still trust Ty. Ty's a good guy. I made one comment about Ty and the autographs, and Ty sent me a text message about it, and I haven't heard from him since then. So I found out he blocked me. I called him, I left him a voicemail, haven't heard back from Ty. I did call Mike, and I appreciate Mike, baseball card collector, answers me. We have a rapport. Many people out there actually do have a rapport with me. They will call me if they need to, and I can call them, and I appreciate that. That's what I ask. I want rapport with people, conversation, an avenue to discuss. If you're not going to make it public and allow me to talk to you in chat or in your comments, then at least have the I don't know, at least be willing to talk to me in some other means. So I reached out to Mike and said, Mike, look, I'm just frustrated with this. I don't know what Ty would block me. I've always been a supporter of chasing cardboard. I'm a critic. I critique people. That's who I am. I make comments, but I don't think I deserve to be blocked. Ugly. So I'll wait to hear back. I know I drive some people. It wouldn't surprise me if the blocking isn't from Bench Clear and Hobby Hotline. When I think about this, it would not surprise me at all if that's not why I got blocked. I know there's some people at Hobby Hotline. They do not like the fact that I engage and that I have a message and I have a voice that I do. And maybe that's why I got on the Bench Clear block list. But I will put that in the ugly part of the hobby this week. Good. The hobby decline. I think it's great. There's lots of opportunity. There's plays to be made in the hobby, boy. And I'll talk about some of those. Talk about some of the things I'm doing in just a moment in the hobby. Ugly or bad. Bad advice. Bad activity from Golden. Bad PSA grading. Looking forward to the PSA numbers by next week. We'll talk about those. And then for me, what am I doing right now? Well, I'll tell you, I've been very actively involved in Funko NFTs. I'm not going to try to pitch you on the NFTs. I don't pitch anybody on anything, but I've been having a blast in those things. Actually making money. There's plays there. I mean, just buying the packs and selling the packs, you can make money. You have to open a damn pack. You can make money. I'm really enjoying the Funko NFT piece a lot. I'm also very much enjoying baseball right now. I'm looking forward, still holding out for Bowman Sapphire. Bowman Draft is coming out. I'm looking forward to Update Chrome and getting in some breaks of that. PSA cards. I have about 50 plus PSA cards come back from PSA. Blind reveal for me. I have not looked at the grades. I don't know what exactly they are. I know they're mostly Prism Monopoly. I have another 100 that are going into PSA this month. I'm looking forward to December and January. A lot of great content I'm working on. Looking forward to launching this weekly show. Looking forward to do some of the history shows, do some holiday specials. So much going on. Larcana drops in November. There's a November 11th. There's a show in Tidewater that Sports Card Chronicles talked about, and there's a show in Winchester that Collectible Kings is supporting. There's a lot going on, a lot of fun activities going on in the hobby. There's so much going on. So what am I doing? Having a good time. I got a lot of cards to go through, a lot of sorting to do. I'll tell you another thing I've decided. I'm looking at buysportscards.com as an alternative for ComC. I don't think I'm gonna start maybe making a dollar box, quarter box, start keeping some more cards that I can sell. Super excited about what's kind of going on. So I think that's gonna wrap us up. I think we're coming at 25 minutes. Lukey here wants to take his bottle and get a little rest time, right, Lukey? Hey, Lukey. Can you say bye to everybody? Say bye. Say welcome. Come back to Sports Cards Hobby News Daily with my daddy. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for joining the ZiggyNo channel. Check me out on Hobby News Daily. That's the more frequent content. Building that channel up. Have a great day. Like, comment.